This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and you're watching another episode of Sportsminute. And of course, tonight I'm joined by my co-host for the evening, my two co-hosts, Mr. Big B. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing good. Get to talk sports, watch wrestling, and wish you a happy birthday. I know it's a day or two late, but happy birthday, Ace.
All right, I definitely appreciate that. So thank you so much. And then, of course, Mr. Crispy Bacon, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Here to talk some sports. Excuse me, and been a chaotic week. So hear that fun.
It has been a very, very chaotic week, but it's been a fun week, and we know that tonight we have some fun topics for you to talk about tonight. So number one, we're actually kind of going to talk about something that's a little bit surprising, because it comes from a team that you really would not expect to do that. But we're going to talk about Bobby Witt Jr. No, we're going to talk about Bobby Witt Jr.
I said the Pistons?
Yeah, I wish. But yeah, we're going to talk about Bobby Witt Jr. from the Kansas City Royals. And so for Bobby Witt Jr., they actually opened up their checkbook a little bit, and they actually decided to, hey, you know what? We're going to open up our checkbook, and we're going to offer Bobby Witt Jr. the richest contract in Royal history. So it actually surprised me that they did it. And I don't know if this is now a telling sign and being like, okay, they're gonna start making moves in free agency or what have you, or whatever. So, Big B, I'm gonna go ahead and start out with you and say, to you, was this a surprising move, and does this might show you that maybe the Royals are gonna start being buyers?
It's tough because, Chris, if you remember a couple years ago, we had one of the St. Paul Saints higher-ups with us, and he was actually talking about Bobby Witt Jr. being legit. So, yeah, it kind of surprised me, a small market team like the Royals doing this. But again, like Ace, you said, I mean, they got to go out and put around him. They got to start winning, or else we're going to talk about him getting traded, and can they move that contract? So right now, great move. We'll see how they follow this up with this Bobby Witt Jr. move. But hey, congrats to him.
Do you feel like the Royals might start making moves after this?
I think they're going to have to. I think they really need to. They're either revamping or trying to get a new stadium. So if they want a new stadium, they're going to have to get a winning ball club out there. So I think this is signs pointing they're going to be making moves.
All right, Crispy Bacon, how do you feel about the Royals making this movie with Bobby Witt Jr.? And do you see him making more?
I don't think they'll have any more signings. I mean, that's a big one for them. You have what, 2 months, a month before the actual season starts. Spring training starting up soon. I don't think you'll see any more signings from them, or maybe any other teams. But it's a big signing, and I think now they're probably contenders. Don't know how much though.
Did Crispy legitimately just say that the
I really
Royals
don't know.
are contenders?
Well, based on
Hey,
the signing, I
you
don't
know
know.
what? If they make a couple more moves, I mean, that Central is wide open. The Twins, yeah, they won it last year, but they haven't impressed me much. So, I mean, heck, move Oakland over to the Central. They might even win in the Central.
So you honestly think right now, Big B, that the Royals of all team would pose a threat?
I get it. I mean, of course, we can say that every year. It depends on injuries. It depends on who else they sign. I mean, yes, it is the Twins' division to lose, but I don't think it's that big of a fetch that the Twins could lose this division.
All right, I just don't see. I don't like. I want to support Crispy in that. Crispy, I know I want to support what you're saying. I just can't. I just can't say that this moves make some contenders. I don't see it making one move.
If they build around him, yes.
If they build around him, yes. But the Royals are a team. So the Royals kind of remind me of the Pirates in a way. However, there's only one difference. The Royals actually have a ring. The Royals have a ring in the 2010 era. So that's really the only difference in that 2000 and the 2000s. That the Royals have a ring. But other than that, though, that team was like that team I felt was more like a destiny team. Because when you look at that team, there wasn't like a lot of household names on that team. There wasn't. And I feel now that you're kind of in the same boat now, especially with the Royals. The last big name that the Royals had traded for, and you can't really call and signing Greinke because they never actually traded for him. But when they signed Greinke, he was definitely over the hill. He was past his prime, so that wasn't that big of a signing. But their biggest trade that they made was Andrew Benintendi when they got him from the Red Sox. But Benintendi is no longer there either. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a sign. Maybe this is a sign that the Royals will actually go out and do more. Maybe it is a sign.
I mean, honestly, if I'm a Royals fan compared to a Twins fan, I'm pretty happy with this signing.
Oh yeah, you have to be because Bobby Witt Jr. is definitely an up and comer. I know a lot of teams were trying to get him at the deadline last year, but the Royals were like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen. Like, we're not getting rid of Bobby Witt," and I don't see it. Like Bobby Witt, it kind of shows you now that he's going to be there for a while. Like Bobby Witt isn't going anywhere now. Yep. Now they have to build around him. They were willing to open up the pocketbooks. They gave it to him. Now it's time to build around him. So it's going to be interesting to see because when you look at the Royals, so let's say you look at the Royals' current their current roster. So if you go and you look at their current roster, so Big B, I'm going to ask you this: how many teams do you think you would currently know without looking at their roster? Can you think of anybody on the team currently, or Crispy? Can you think of anybody on the team right now that you're like, oh wait, I might know somebody else on the roster?
On the Royals?
Yes.
I think Cranky's still there. I think he has one more year. God, I'm trying. I know the catcher's name. I just can't think of him right now. But yeah, no. I mean, Bobby Wood's pretty much it. I mean, like you said, that's
So
it. I'm trying to think of the catcher's name. It's not coming to me right now.
it's Salvador Perez.
Yeah, Perez. Yes.
Yeah.
Once you said Salvador, I knew it was Perez.
Yeah. So their current roster by people that names that you might know. So they have Michael Wacha, the pitcher, Brady Singer, Seth Lugo, Jordan Lyles. Those are the pitchers that you may know. They did sign Will Smith, who's won 3 consecutive World Series rings. But when the Royals signed him, then people were like, "Oh, is he going to get a 4th one?" I'm like, "No, because the Royals are not going to the World Series." So you don't have to worry about Will Smith getting a 4th consecutive ring, because I don't see it happening. They signed Nick Anderson. Let's see, Adam Frazier. Let's see, what else do they have? That's pretty much those are pretty much the names that people would know.
I couldn't even tell you who's coaching them right now.
Right? That's funny. All right. So I just wanted to bring that up. That was a fun topic to have. So let's go into our next topic of the evening, which I guess to some people it's kind of shocking in a way, but our next one that we're talking about is Devin Hester. And we know that Devin Hester is going in the Hall of Fame, and people are wondering, was it rightfully earned? And the reason we're saying, is it rightfully earned? I think when you look at Devin Hester, yeah, he was probably the greatest kick returner of all time / punt returner of all time. He was supposed to be a receiver, but his hands were like bricks. And so he never really panned out as a receiver, just as a kick returner and punt returner. So, Big B, do you think that Devin Hester rightfully deserved to be in the Hall of Fame?
Man, for returning ability, yes. I mean, like you said, I think he's the one that kind of energized the Bears when he played for them on those kick returns, or even the missed field goals that he caught and took him back to the house. I think he holds the record for most return touchdowns on punt and kick returns. So yeah, he definitely should get in there. Again, a lot of people are going to, say it's not worthy because of he was a receiver or running back, I think, when he first came into the league, but I think he deserves it.
All right, so you're kind of 50-50 on that, to where you're like, was it enough to get in the Hall of Fame? Maybe I see, huh?
Yeah, to a point, but I mean, for what he did for the Bears and what he did for returners in general, I think he gets into he definitely deserves a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, which I'll tell you, there's a lot of people who say it was about time for him to get in. So, I get that whole return game, but what do you base it off of? Like, do you base it off of just his return game? Because if you base it off of that, yes. But if you base it off of him as a flat out receiver, then no, because he wasn't a good receiver. But Crispy, do you think that Devin Hester deserves to be in the Hall of Fame?
I do. I mean, he was one of the top kick returners, punt returners in the NFL, back in 2006, 2008, somewhere in there. last year was his first chance to get in the Hall of Fame. Did not turn out to his advantage. He has to wait a year. Looks like he's getting in this year. Not official. Wait for that tomorrow. But I think last year was his better chance of getting in because it would have been more memorable for all of his records and accomplishments getting in on a first ballot. But, I mean, he's still going to get in. I think it's worth it. It'd be good for Bears fans and the NFL in general.
Yeah, so the one thing I've always wondered, and maybe Big B, maybe you can elaborate on this, and maybe Chris can or something. What about a punter? Like, what constitutes a punter getting in the Hall of Fame? That's what I really want to know. How do you look at a punter and say, okay, this punter deserves to be in the Hall of Fame?
I know back in the day, it used to be a lot of the coffin kicks, return yards, how deep he kicked it, touchbacks. I don't know nowadays. I don't think there's many punters that are standing out to a lot of the voters. So I don't know what the criteria is nowadays.
I think there's only one punter. I think.
Are you talking about currently or in history?
Just in the Hall of Fame in general.
Yeah, but that's well, and also back then though, Big B and Crispy, if you think about it, back then the punter wasn't always just the punter. The punter played different positions. Like the punter could have been the quarterback. The punter could have been the receiver. The punter could have been so back then punters weren't just punters. Now punters are just punters. You're not seeing punters play other positions now, unless it's the Tom Tupa game, to where he came in and filled in as punter up until the fourth, or filled in as quarterback up until the fourth quarter, because the Jets' backup quarterback at the time was the emergency quarterback and couldn't play until the fourth quarter. So
right.
Tom Cooper ended up playing three quarters without really knowing what the heck he was doing. But in general, you don't really see that now. So when you talk about it, you kind of know, like Devin Hester, you kind of know what got him in the Hall of Fame. But when you look at like punters and kickers, you're like, okay, what constitutes a kicker getting in the Hall of Fame? And J-Mac is saying it's Ray Guy.
Yes, and he only did punting. He didn't do anything else.
No, but we talked about what is the criteria. Like, what is the criteria for a punter making the Hall of Fame?
Right, and I think that's why, there's only one in there, because there is no really criteria. I mean, we could examine what he did and kind of base it off of it, but there's no really real criteria, I don't think.
No, I don't think so, but let me ask you this. Pat McAfee. And I'm not only talking about him because of the WWE side, but I'm talking about because of how people said he was a great punter. Johnny Hacker.
Randy's new favorite guy to root for, okay.
He could go in as a contributor if he doesn't get in as punter.
Johnny Hacker, another great punter. Probably one of the greatest punters of all time. Does Johnny Hacker, what would qualify Johnny Hacker to get in the Hall of Fame? That's the only reason I'm bringing this up, is because you have a kick returner who made it, which I'm not saying doesn't deserve it. Okay, I'm not saying that at all, because I do think Devin Hester is one that definitely deserves it because of the return game. But there's going to be questions asked about it. If a punt returner, can make it, then what about a punter or kicker? That's just
exactly. I mean, it's going to be sad because Pat McAfee will probably make the WWE Hall of Fame before he makes it as a NFL Hall of Famer.
Okay,
and I think McAfee will go in as a contributor, not necessarily a punter.
Okay, as a fan, would you guys look at McAfee and think that McAfee should deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, without looking at his
would.
numbers, I know he's made a highlight reel on a few nice tackles, and a
Yep.
couple of sneaks and stuff. I mean, I guess like we said, there's not really criteria. So how did he do on the touchbacks? How did he do on out kicking his coverage? I guess so they had a chance to make a play. Stuff like that. I mean, I think punters should get more look at and get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so J-Mac is even saying Shane Lechler should be in the Hall of Fame. So
yeah, I mean here in Minnesota, I mean, for a while there, I don't know how many Pro Bowls he made. I know he made at least 3 consecutive, but Mitch Berger for a while there was a outstanding kicker or punter, I should say.
yes, and I understand that people say, punters are punters and kickers are kickers, and kick returners and punt returners are dime a dozen. They talk about all those, but I'll tell you, kick returners and punt returners can make a huge difference in a game, and a punter and a kicker can basically cost you a game. They can.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like there needs to be more focus on it. Now the problem is now the problem is now is I think Devin Hester will be the last kick returner / punt returner to get in the Hall of Fame. And the reason why is because of how much the game has changed on the kick return and punt return side. Because of how the return game has changed, that's why, to me, Devin Hester will be the last returner to get in. It's just the way that the rules have changed, there's barely any returns anymore. You barely see
That's
them.
true.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, I would bet probably in the next 5 to 10 years, NFL will not have kickoffs anymore.
And if you do, they'll be like XFL style where it's very reduced.
And they should. They should be like the XFL style. I like the XFL style kickoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now understand now you're past the point to where you're no longer going to see the Devin Hesters. You're no longer going to see the Dante Halls. You're no longer going to see the Desmond Howards. You're no longer going to see the Darren Sproles. You're no longer going to see the Josh Cribbs. These are guys on kick returns that you're just not going to see anymore. You're just not gonna do it, and that's why I think Devin Hester getting in the Hall of Fame.
One guy, and I can't think of his name right now.
For who?
What?
Oh yeah, I mean it definitely means a lot.
What team were you talking about?
What's that?
What team were you talking about with the player?
What he played for? What, Atlanta now? Patterson. Cordell Patterson was a pretty decent returner.
Cordell Patterson, yeah. But
I mean, I think he's found his niche now as kind of a Debo Samuel type player.
Yeah, but I don't think he returns kicks anymore. He used to. I don't think he does.
I think they found a niche for him to where he's a running back / wide receiver type guy. I don't think he does much of the kick returning anymore.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't anymore. But that's because the game has changed so much, which is why.
Yeah, that's why I said within the next 5 to 10 years, I don't think we'll see much kick returning anymore going on. unless they move it back 5 yards.
Yep, I agree with that. All right. So going into our next one, we normally don't really talk about this much because we know it's not one of our favorite topics, but the word around the NBA right now, there's rumors swirling that LeBron James could indeed be traded from the Lakers. I don't necessarily know if I believe that, but they're saying that this is coming from some of the higher ups that are saying that he could be traded. Now, LeBron is a guy that we know everybody likes to say GM LeBron and coach LeBron and things like that because we know how that works. We know how all that works. I think everybody else would go before LeBron James left. I think he would be the last thing, like the last person that the Lakers would trade. And just so people understand, I am not a LeBron James fan. Never been a LeBron James fan. I just don't see it happening. So, Big B, do you actually see it happening? Like, do you think the Lakers would actually pull the trigger on that?
If they could get, I mean, we'll put it into terms of, Dallas Cowboys getting a steal for Herschel Walker. If they can get that type of deal, and the one hitch in the NBA trades is that the salary's got to match up 80-90% for it to be a fair trade. So I mean, if we go on to ESPN trade slot machine, whatever they call it, and see what teams would be out there. I know the Knicks have been talked about, the Warriors have been talked about. Matter of fact, I just see a proposed trade here sending LeBron to the Warriors for a $214 million package. I do not know what that is, but again, everything is just rumored. But the Lakers would be foolish not to get a deal if they can get that type of deal, picks, and stuff like that, because it's not LeBron at 25. It's LeBron at, what is he, 40? 39, 40? So,
He's
battling
39.
injury. So, yeah, 39. So, it's a different story. If we're talking LeBron at, mid-20s, no, you don't move him. You try to build around him. But you're talking about a 39-year-old LeBron, and if somebody's willing to pay that, then you move him. That you just have to find a trade partner.
Yeah. You know what? To a way, I do agree with you. I just think at this point in time, I think that he's still too big of a name, and it makes me wonder. I know there are Lakers fans out there that would be okay if they traded LeBron, because you do hear some Lakers fans that go, "Hey, part of the problem on this team is LeBron and how he wants to run the team and everything else." So there are fans out there who will say, "Yes, he's part of the problem, and it would be okay if they traded him." But then you have the other half of the fans that would be like, you can't trade a Hall of Famer. If you trade a Hall of Famer, fans are going to riot and blah, blah, blah. So how it would go, I have no idea. It would be interesting to see how the Lakers fans would actually react if they did trade him. But that trade proposal, Big B, that you're talking about, I 100% agree with that. If you get a trade proposal like that, how can you turn that down? I don't think you can. I really don't think you can turn that down if you get a trade package like that.
No, I haven't seen the trade package. I'll just go look at it now. But yeah, if you can get yourself, a solid all-star, some guys that can potentially be all-stars, and then you get some picks involved, yeah, Lakers, I mean, any team would be foolish not to turn it down.
Crispy Bacon, do you feel like this is a trade that could potentially happen?
I mean, right now, anything is possible. I know the deadline's tomorrow. Right now, everything's speculation. And I know people want to, say he's he's like the honorary GM, part coach, part player. I mean, like I said, anything's possible, but I don't see him going anywhere. I think he's going to stick around in LA with the Lakers.
All right, again, so Tim is saying if the Warriors do it, it will involve Klay Thompson. So it sounds like Tim is thinking that the Warriors could possibly go in on LeBron. But I don't know. Tim, if you want to drop in the comments and tell me if you truly feel like it could happen, like LeBron could end up going there, tell me how good of a shot you think that is. Because right now, I don't know, or I personally don't think it's a very good shot. I know Steph Curry and LeBron have talked about it for a long time, that they've wanted to play together on the same team, but I don't see it happening. I don't think that the Warriors would want to get rid of Klay Thompson, but if they would have to make that trade, you would definitely have to, because the Lakers are going to want some big piece to the puzzle, and Klay Thompson would probably be that guy. All right, so shifting focus here.
All right, so
go ahead.
Looking into that trade, so it's coming from Bill Simon, the Ringer's Bill Simon. This is what I'm reading. Is James would go to the Warriors. The Lakers would land 6-time All-Star Klay Thompson, Jonathan Kuzma as part of the package. The trade also proposed a pairs James with Curry and Desmond Green and 2 players who. So I mean, right now it just sounds like they're talking. Again, it's just a hypothetical rumor that it would be Klay Thompson and Kuzma first, and then they didn't give really any other of the pieces that they're rumored to be in there.
Okay, well, Tim is saying that he doesn't think it's going to happen, but the Warriors are rumored to be shopping Klay, which I don't think the Warriors are going to. The Warriors will not be in the NBA Finals this year. They just don't look like a team that can. And we know that Klay and Steph Curry have been together for a while. Draymond Green has been part of that pair that has been there for a while. Draymond Green is a guy that you could potentially see go. Klay Thompson, now that I'm thinking about it, because he's been there for so long, Klay Thompson is another guy that maybe it is time to kind of start moving some of these pieces and getting younger pieces in, because Klay's not getting any younger, Draymond Green's not getting any younger, Steph Curry's not getting any younger. So it might be time to start moving some of these pieces around and getting some younger talent in on the Warriors side of things. But with that being said, if you're the Warriors and you call the Lakers for a potential trade, and if you want to go young, why would you trade for a 39-year-old player in LeBron James? That's just the one thing that doesn't make sense to me. That's all I'm saying.
It doesn't make sense unless you're trying to unload dead cap, expiring salaries, or people that you've overpaid for. And then again, too, you also got to remember, too, why do we all think LeBron's sticking around? To play with his son, Bronny. So, you know, how good do you think Bronny's going to be? That's going to be the question.
But what draft position do you think Bronny would go? Do you think Bronny would go number 1 overall?
Right now, there's the last I saw was they're saying that he's not going to get drafted.
Interesting.
Yeah. So again, I mean that might be because of the issues he had at the beginning of this year, basketball season, I think it was, the
Yeah.
hospitalization stuff. So it might just be kind of see how he plays it out. But again, a couple of years ago, they're saying mid first round. All signs pointing here to Minnesota, but I'm glad Minnesota's doing good because now we don't have to hear about that talk. So,
Well, yeah, and all I'm saying is, that if Bronny goes undrafted, wherever LeBron is, he's gonna have an ear in the GM's, like he's gonna have a mouth in the GM's ear and saying, "Hey, you need to go after Bronny. You need to sign him. We need to get my son here."
well, and that's the thing, though. I mean, you're right. He's gonna have his ear. He's gonna be talking to the GM. And honestly, an undrafted kid, I'd probably. I mean, as much as I think a lot of teams would take a flyer on Bronny. You know, for 1 year to see how he would play and kind of see what production they get out of his dad. So I think it would be a win-win. I think for a team for LeBron or Bronny to go to if he does go drafted because one, you're not wasting a draft pick, and two, you sign him pretty cheap.
Yeah, and I guess even if you get LeBron for a year, wherever LeBron goes, if you get him for a year and he decides to play with Bronny for a year, at least you can say, "Hey, we had LeBron and Bronny for 1 year on the same team," even if it is
Oh,
1 year.
and
And
honestly, if it ends up being the two teams that I just saw rumored, if it ends up being the Warriors or the Knicks, I mean, that would be huge in both markets, especially if it's the Warriors with the team they got now, and if they can only have to send off a couple of their cornerstones and bring Brown in. I guess if I'm the Warriors, I take that chance. I guess.
why not? Why not? All right.
Yep.
So moving on to our next one, we're going to talk about like MLB free agency. We know that some of these people have already signed with teams and everything, but the reason I brought these up anyways is because how much some of these contracts like how big contracts these individuals have gotten. And so because of like the years that the players are getting and the amount of money that the players are getting. Um, do you think this is starting to hurt MLB free agency in a way? Because I feel like this year on the free agency side, it's been slow. There hasn't been a lot that has gone on. Yeah, you've seen certain players sign, like Otani got a massive contract, which people saw that coming. Aaron Nola got a big contract. Yamamoto got a big contract. These are all players that you've seen get big contracts. Now, as time goes on, because all these players are signing to significant long-term deals, you're starting to see free agency slow down. So you're starting to see a lot of these bigger names not being available in free agency, and you're starting to see a lot of these littler names now. So, Big B, let me ask you, do you think that the way these contracts are being handled now in MLB with the massive years and the massive amount of money, do you kind of see how it's starting to hurt free agency a little bit?
Um, yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the massive amount of money and years that these players are asking for or being rumored to be asking for. I think what might change the game going into next offseason would be how the way Ohtani's deal got structured, and he's only going to get paid $2 million for the length of his contract, and then get the Bobby Bonilla treatment down the road. And so, if they can start structuring contracts like that, it's going to be interesting to see how these affect the teams 10, 15 years down the road with these contracts that get, they sign for X amount of years, but then they defer all the money to after the career is pretty much over. So, but yeah, I think a lot of teams got scared this year with the Otani being rumored for 10, almost $1 billion contract. So I think that kind of scared a lot of teams, and they had to rethink on the fly when Otani deferred a lot of that money. So I think they just don't know what to do right now. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, I understand that Otani got all that money, but you're not going to see a lot of players who are going to get the Otani money like Otani got. But you still have guys like the Bryce Harpers and the Tatis Juniors and the Ronald Acuñas and players like that who are going to end up getting these astronomical amount of money. And so that's why teams are they're gonna start getting scared. And so you're gonna start seeing these smaller market teams really get scared because they're gonna be like, well, all these contracts that are going out, we don't want to open up our checkbooks to sign them. Until you see a move like the Royals.
Well, and I think right now,
yeah.
Well, I think right now everybody's kind of looking to see how the Braves are doing things. They're signing all their young talent right away to keep that core together. So I think they're kind of trying to determine which way they want to go. Do they want to go the Braves way and taking a chance on these young guys giving up, or do they want to go and see them establish themselves and then have a chance of losing them when that contract comes up? I mean, just look at Toronto. I just saw lost arbitration case for Glad Jr. for, I think it was like $19 million. So, I think that's what the teams are kind of doing, is trying to figure out, okay, we see what the Braves are doing with their young talent. We also see what some other teams are doing. Dodgers, Yankees signing all these guys that are all-stars to monster deals but going nowhere. So I think a lot of teams are kind of just going back to the drawing board and kind of figuring out the medium between the two and where they want to go.
Well, yeah, because you have both ends of the spectrum here. Because you have the Dodgers and Yankees who sign people to just give them a ton of money. But then it's just like you said, the Braves are signing their core players to deals, but what they're doing is they're getting these hometown discounts by signing people to these smaller deals. And then people are getting upset with Atlanta going, I don't understand how they get away with it when they're not paying these guys an astronomical amount of money. And it's like, Atlanta's just offering them the money and they're just accepting it. So how's it their fault that the players are not asking for that much money?
Well, the thing is, I think with the Braves, and I would love to be a fly in the locker room in most of those meetings, but it wouldn't surprise me if those younger talented guys like, guys, look how good we are together. Let's stick around for a while. Let's be a team to be reckoned with down the road. So I would love to be in the meetings with some of these players and just see what they're talking about behind the closed doors.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Well, yeah, because sometimes you have the problem to where some players want to do what's best for them. They want to look at them and say, hey, I'm going after the bank. If I can get the bank, I'm going to do it. And then the team says, well, if you take a discount, then we can stick together and we can be better for years to come. And then the players might think, well, what's it matter about you? Like, I am the team and I put up the numbers and I do this and I feel like I have earned it. I understand that. Maybe in a way you have earned it, but again, you're sacrificing your team now. That's what you're doing. You're starting to take money away that the other team can be giving to other people.
I mean, we can just look at the last few years since COVID. I mean, the Dodgers won it the COVID year. The Braves won it one year. I'm trying to think who else has won it.
It was the Astros the year after.
Who am I missing? Braves.
Astros.
Yep.
It,
Yep. And the Rangers. I mean, the Rangers, went out and spent big money, but I mean, again, I just think the teams are just looking at trying to find a happy medium on, okay, do we spend money now or do we take a chance later? I mean, it's pretty much a lottery. I mean, it's like playing the lottery.
It is. And Tim is saying, look at Burns getting traded because the Brewers saw the price tag for next year. And that's where they got scared, was the price tag. And honestly, I think everybody here can agree that when everybody knew that Ohtani was going to become a free agent, I think everybody knew he was going to the Dodgers because the Dodgers were the team that could afford to pay him the money. And I really think that was the big thing, was what teams could afford to pay.
I mean, everybody can pay. I think if we all knew that Ohtani was going to do this kind of deal, all teams could have paid him that money. I mean,
no, are you talking about how they broke his contract down to where he gets like $2 million for the remainder?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, if every team knew going into negotiation that, if every team knew that he was going to break it down that way and defer a lot of that money, every team could have bought Ohtani. So. But everybody just got scared of the big price tag, and the Dodgers is like, nope, we're not scared, and threw out that money. So.
Well, they have the money to do it.
But
the Dodgers
exactly. But I'm just saying, if every team knew that Ohtani was thinking about, if every team knew that Ohtani was going to defer his money, I think everybody would have thrown out a big dollar amount like that. I don't think the teams knew. I mean, as fans, I think we all were shocked that he deferred all his money just to $2 million a year.
Oh yeah, I think so too. Crispy, your thoughts on this? Do you think that these contracts are hurting MLB?
I think so, because you don't really have a salary cap in place. It feels like teams and owners can, I know they say they don't, but it kind of feels like they can put out any number the players suggest, and then, down the line, they're saying they're having financial difficulties and all this. I think it's a problem that they need to fix, and maybe they will down the line.
Well, my thinking is this too, is that when it comes to owners and stuff too, I think sometimes you see, like right now, you're starting to see more and more MLB owners sell their teams or move the team to a different location. But I think a lot of owners are starting to sell their teams because of the simple fact of the price tag of these players. That's why I think, and some of them are afraid. They're like, I can't pay this out. Like I can't pay this amount of money because all these players want this much, and we're not going to be able to make enough money here. Like you look at a team like the A's, you look at a team like the Pirates, you look at a team like the Rays. They could never pay players like that because they don't have the revenue to be able to bring that back in. And I think that's the biggest problem, is the owners are seeing that and they're like, yeah, we don't have the revenue for it. Like we don't make enough to where we can put all this money out to pay all these players this massive amount of money. And that's what's starting to scare some owners off too. That is my opinion about it. I really do believe that's what's scaring owners off.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But MLB season's right around the corner. pitchers and catchers are going to report soon. I think we're all kind of getting super excited about that. I saw on there that
I think the Twins actually report this week. I think.
I believe so, because I know they had one game. They had one game that was coming up. Let's see. And I do want to throw this out there, and I do want to say that the Pistons won again today. So that's their 7th win now.
So they're halfway to the Lions' win total for the year.
So I told everybody, don't let the Pistons get hot. Don't let them do it. And because if you let the Pistons get hot, they're going to climb back in. But I think
they're how many games out of the playoffs?
They're still like 12 games out or some. Yeah, but I think. Let's see exactly. I like when I looked out of the final spot. They are exactly. So they're
12.
They're 14
12
games out. They're 14 games out of the 10 seed.
Yeah.
But I think what's surprising
that
a lot
that
of
would
people,
be that would be something to put some, put $5 on them to make the 10 seed, see what happens.
right? But I think what's surprising a lot of people though too is that they're not being sellers, they're actually being buyers at the deadline. I think that's what's surprising a lot of people. They're trying to go get more guys.
Well, it can't hurt. I mean,
At least you're trying.
Yes, but people were saying there's no way.
Honestly, Ace.
Huh.
Honestly, except for the couple rookies they have this year that they drafted, would it shock you if you woke up tomorrow or today? I guess it's 8 o'clock or it's the 8th my time. Would it shock you if you woke up and they traded everybody away, or even half of the team? They traded half the team to different places and brought in a whole new team for the rest of the year.
Would it shock me?
Yeah.
No, because it's the Detroit way. That's
Outside
what
of
they do.
rookies that they got this year, maybe last year's rookies.
Well, there's certain
If they brought in
guys.
6-7 new guys, and
Yeah, there's certain guys that I can tell you that I don't see them trading at all. I don't see them trading Cade Cunningham.
well, yeah, they're probably not going to trade. Yep.
I don't see them trading.
Yeah, I think the rookie class they got last year and this year they won't trade away, unless they got a heck of a deal for them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the thing that shocked me was that I did tell everybody that they were going to be buyers at the deadline, and people told me there's no way the Pistons will be buyers. They're going to be sellers. And I was like, look, they're actually making trades. They're actually getting more people. So I wasn't lying when I said they were going to be buyers at the deadline.
Yeah.
They are. They're being buyers at the deadline. They're trying to build a team. I'm still not excited yet, but I will be soon, I think. I want to say think anyway. Anyway, we're pretty much at time here. We're at that hour mark just about. So this way we can kind of throw in our final thoughts there. So we'll go ahead and start out with Big B. Big B, what are your final thoughts for the evening?
My final thoughts is thank you for everybody that commented on these great topics we had. Again, if you didn't catch Ranko yesterday morning, we did a tribute topic to Toby Keith. Rest in peace, Toby Keith. It was a hard news that I woke up to for that. But outside of that, just keep checking us out. Chris and the gang, I believe, will be on Morning Tailgate Sunday sometime before the Super Bowl hits. And who knows? There's talk with me and Tim. Might bring back Jeopardy for a show or two. So we'll see about that.
All right, Crispy, any final thoughts for you?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. Morning Tailgate this Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, and tomorrow is the NFL Honors. We'll know the Hall of Fame class. We'll know who won MVP and all the other awards. So tune in for that, and it's going to be a fun weekend.
All right, we definitely want to.
Vegas is going to be busy next couple of days.
Yeah. What?
Vegas. They're going to be
Vegas
busy.
is going to be busy the next couple of days because ain't WWE going to be there doing a press release for WrestleMania
Tomorrow.
Yeah, they are tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we definitely want to thank everybody for watching, and of course, it's been another great episode. And you can catch us next week, Wednesday, for another episode of Sports Minute. So, with that, everyone have a fantastic night, and we'll see you next week.